Welcome to another episode of Storytime with Dr. Brown. Here we're going to take another deep dive back into history of medicine. So why don't you come join us? This time we're going to look at Arabic medicine. And here we have a representation of an Arab gentleman, a physician, who's inspecting a young child. The Arab really preserved a lot of the Greco-Roman knowledge throughout the Middle Ages in medicine, and their system for using procedures and advances that were passed from the Greco-Romans they were responsible for then sharing it vastly throughout the Middle East. And they were keen on their observation and inventiveness in their approach to treatments. In this, we see a young child who has measles, and the physician is observing the pupillary reaction to light. And he uses this as part of diagnosing and inspecting and observing the course of the disease in the child. And it's very important that, as you can see, it's the translation of observation, rational approach, inspection, getting in close, sitting down with the patient, and actually interacting with them in a way that is very foreign to what it is now. You don't see them wearing a white coat. You don't see them in an examination room. This is in the home, and this is where the care is being given. With the predominance of Greek influence in world medical thought that covered almost a millennium from 500 BC to 500 AD, the next millennium, between 500 AD and 1500 AD, may be characterized as the medieval period of medicine. It was a great time of strife, of socio-political change, of regression and progression. It was a time crucible in which classic traditions of the defunct Roman Empire, practices of the barbaric paganism, philosophies of rapidly growing Christianity, and the vigorous thirst for knowledge that followed the dramatic rise of Islam. Medieval medicine borrowed elements from all these sources in varying degrees and passed on to succeeding eras a corpus medicus, the better way for this wedding of widely divergent systems. During the early Middle Ages, Western Europe was engulfed in wave after wave of conquering barbarians who ruthlessly destroyed libraries and centers of learning. No less destructive to life and morale were waves of endemic plague that swept the Western world. During these centuries, Greco-Roman medicine, grown sterile following the time of Galen, was virtually lost to the Western world. Only those works laboriously copied and preserved by the monks in Christian monasteries remained. Knowledge of the Greeks in medicine, as in other fields, came to the Arabs through Christian sectarians. Thus, Arabs became familiar with and enthusiastically embraced the teachings of Hippocrates and Galen. By the 10th century, all essential Greek medical writings had been translated in Damascus, Cairo, and Baghdad, as had more Greek classics than the West knew of before the Renaissance. Most famous of the Arabic works was the Contents, a kind of medical encyclopedia put together with notes after the book was dedicated to a Persian prince. The work most highly regarded today is a little book on smallpox and measles, one of the few to have been translated into English. The great merit of this book is that it offers the first medical description of these two important infectious diseases. These writings contain ingenious and penetrating observations on topics as widely variant as hiccups, prerogatives, spinal injury, and embryotomy. So what we are seeing here is the lineage, the genealogy of medicine, how it trickles through cultures and civilizations, how it's passed down from generation to generation. And that's a very important point for where we are right now. What do we pass off to the next generation? Me as a physician, where did I come from? What was my origin? And those who taught me. And what are my roles for teaching others when my time passes? If we don't accept the genealogy, the past, and everything, then our future is poorly written. I think history will prove itself. If we don't shift from where we are today with healthcare and go back to the roots of what medicine is, then it's going to be a very bleak, dark ages for us all. And if you happen to find any of this interesting, or more importantly, if you want to collaborate, check out the link below so that you can send us your comments, any stories you may have, anything, we're happy to entertain it. And this is really about us going on a journey together.